Today on X-Play, a new console is born. Smell the processors. Witness the majesty. Threaten to drop out of school if your parents don't buy you one. It's game time.
Adam Sessler, Morgan Webb.
Prepare to be reviewed.
Prepare to be reviewed. This is X-Play.
Hello and welcome to X-Play.
Take a moment. Can you feel that? That is the collective sensation of awe and wonderment felt the world over as this most special of day approaches.
A console is about to be born, bringing with it infinite possibility for pleasure, joy, disappointment, and bad Japanese role-playing games.
And we are here, the midwives of American gaming culture, ready to receive the placenta-soaked PS3 into our loving hands.
That's gross.
Yeah, well, the birth of a console demands the poetic imagery.
Well, it also demands a nice video retrospective of PS3 previews.
Because anticipation is the third best part of playing a game, right after playing it, and mocking your friends who are playing it.
And we've got trailers of some of the biggest titles we're going to be seeing within the launch window.
Launch window is a phrase that translates very poorly from the Japanese.
It literally means way of getting you to buy a console when it only has 3 buggy titles ready to ship.
But back in the Tokyo Game Show, Morgan and I got to play most of the games coming out for the PS3 in the next few months.
And later in the show, we'll give you our initial hands-on impressions of these games and the PS3 itself.
But we have to begin with the origin story of the PS3, how it got its powers and acquired its arch nemesis. Here's our look back at the road to the PS3.
PlayStation 3.
As November release date for the PS3 approaches, gamers from around the world may finally have something to exhale about. At long last, the final version of the PS3 will be set and flying off shelves. Let's take a look back at the mileage traveled to launch, the beautiful views and costly tolls experienced on the road to the PS3. It's E3 2005, and Kaz Hirai hits the stage like a corporate rock star. Stepping up to the mic, he delivers the hit, and the crowd goes wild. Like a truck too late to dodge, the promise of Sony's next-generation console hit our eyes and ears. It sounded out of this world, going so far as renaming the central processing unit as something more like a hive that content would swarm out of. Even the controller looked like a mental challenge. And when would this high-res symbol of synergy be out? Spring 2006. If you needed any evidence of this console's strength, you only had to see Next-Gen Killzone, E3 2005. This, they said, is what you could expect from next-gen gaming. There was also MotoStorm. Mud never looked this good under skies that looked as complex as if a Flemish pastoralist had painted it himself. With the approach of E3 2006, all eyes were on Sony. The emphasis this year seemed to focus on the PS3's muscularity as an entertainment hub for all your digital amusements. The PS3 will be a global pipe, pumping games, internet, films, and MP3s into our homes like a storm drain after a hurricane. But where were the games? They looked different. Gundam looked a little less polished, and where was the next-gen Killzone? And was striking this crab on a special spot and causing massive damage indicative of next-gen gaming? Thankfully, a new, more aesthetically conservative motion-capable controller was unveiled to replace the boomerang. And then there was the price, $599, with the less expensive version not including an HDMI output for true high resolution. There was cause for concern. A new release date is announced, fall 2006.
We're set to launch the PlayStation 3 this November.
Once again, all eyes were on Sony. The Tokyo Game Show 06 thankfully brought better playable versions, an ambitious display, and a new attitude focused on launch. Lair played well. The graphics and game features delivered on some of the promised grandeur. The $500 version would come with an HDMI port after all.
PlayStation 3.
Maybe things weren't so bad. Demand would still be high, and initial low release numbers will cause some Best Buys to be torched. But at least the road to the PS3 is almost over.
Blow it up.
quick kill zone footage, promising me a glimmering next-gen future full of beautifully rendered realistic carnage. But now we must pull back our expectations and learn to love the PS3 for what it is. And for a clearer look at what we can expect from the PS3, here's a preview of Resistance: Fall of Man.
The Chimeran threat began in Russia. The origin of the virus is unknown, but its effects were devastating and swift. In the 1930s, reports of biological experiments began leaking out of Russia. We feared the Russians had developed a weapon of unparalleled power. The truth was far worse.
You're with me! Let's go!
Graphics are starting to make me woozy.
It's just a normal case of that interconsular recompression. You just need to breathe deeply and remember what life was like when you went from the GBA to the DS.
It was like having fingers for the first time.
Speaking of doing things for the first time, you guys should head over to g4tv.com/exploit to tell us whether you'd be willing to pay more than retail price for a PS3 at launch. We're going to have your results later in the show.
Up next, we trace the PS3 through its gestation on X-Play. We couldn't afford the premium version, so instead we got Morgan Webb.
Welcome back to X-Play. We are wrapping ourselves in the toasty warm blanket of the PS3 launch to relish this glorious moment in the evolution of electronic gaming. So to continue our PowerPoint presentation, here's a look back at what we saw from the PS3 at the Tokyo Game Show. After a less than stellar E3, Sony finally has a chance to blow everyone away at TGS with more polished titles. And sure enough, they have delivered with more games, more details, and yes, more problems. First, the bad news. See, Gran Turismo HD is not just a press conference demo. It's a real game, and it's considered a precursor to Gran Turismo 5, whatever that means. But what it really seems that it's like is an excuse to charge PS3 owners online content fees. See, about 90% of everything in the game, like from courses to cars, is going to be unlockable only by purchasing it from 50 cents to about $5, meaning to unlock everything in the game, it's going to cost about $400 to $1,000. Not cool. You, Polyphony. You. And the good news? Pretty much everything else. Go look. This is Devil May Cry 4. Now, this is the first time it's been playable on the show floor. Now, you don't play as Dante, you play as Nero, who looks a lot like Dante, but he has a possessed arm. He can do combos, and he can, like, grab people from across the room. Now, Capcom's really hoping to get this out for the PS3 at launch or around launch, and you actually do come into conflict with Dante during the game, so people are kind of excited about that. There's a new trailer unveiled for Metal Gear Solid 4 this year. Now, the big news is the autocam has been revealed. It is a chameleon-style visual camouflage, so he doesn't turn invisible, he just blends in with everything that's around him. Now, it's not a sneaking mission, and this is according to Mr. Kojima. When you look around the game, it's usually in first person, but when you start shooting, it's Resident Evil 4 style. It goes into third-person view. Kojima has confirmed they have about a year left to go on the game, so we're looking for it at the end of next year. This is Resistance: Fall of Man, which is shaping up to be the PS3's big launch title. And another exciting thing is the online play is going to have up to 40 players in the final version. And of course, it's made by Insomniac, which is Ratchet & Clank, so we're expecting to see a lot of really creative weapons. You know, like Ratchet and Clank, but with more blood. I love how sleek and silvery and gigantic the PS3 is. It's like a Cylon battle cruiser. Or a hibachi.
Yeah. You know, I'm mostly just excited at the concept of having a Sony console doesn't look like it's constantly about to break.
In a moment, Metal Gear Solid 4 on X-Play. Complete with 3.2 gigahertz SPEs, it's Adam Sessler.
Welcome back to X-Play. We continue our celebration of the coming PlayStation 3 with a preview of one of the most anticipated titles. Now, Sony may be closely associated with wispy androgynes and zany Japanese gangs, but one core franchise does always have the real man cred. Here's a look at Metal Gear Solid 4.
These trailers we've been getting have been a bit vague, but our capacity to scrutinize is limited by the intoxicating confusion of the lush graphics. For yet another amuse-bouche of a trailer, here's Coated Arms Assault.
Day-to-day, our brief exchanges start. A new rush of feelings entering from these eyes and coursing into this heart. How tricky it is to close your eyes and see your heart smile, and so I start to question.
他のビジターとは違うようね。ビジターの排除、それが私に与えられた使命。HV モード移行。みんな死んだの。彼らのリアル。ここにはあなたの欲しいものは何もない。
警告する。この先、リアルな死があなたを待っている。さあ、リアルへ帰りなさい。
Oh, the excitement. The PS3, like Santa Claus and an extinction-level environmental event, are almost here. I can taste it, I tell you.
What does a PS3 taste like?
Copper. And I smell burnt toast.
Okay, Morgan's having a stroke again. We're going to take a commercial.
Happens every time they release a new console.
Actually, it's a blood clot in the frame.
Oh.
Up next, hands-on with the PS3 on X-Play.
You're watching G4, next X-Play, followed by Star Trek The Next Generation, then Arrested Development, later Cheaters on Midnight Spank.
Poorer, but happier. It's Adam Sessler.
Welcome back to X-Play. Well, Morgan seems to be recovering from a mild stroke, and we're continuing with our lead-up to the launch of the PS3. I got to spend some time with Sony's new console at the Tokyo Game Show this year. Here's a look. Right now I feel like the luckiest kid around. This is Devil May Cry 4 from Capcom. Now, rumor has it, they want this one out this year. From the little I've just played, I'd have to say you want it out this year as well. It's a little bit different. You'll notice a few things. Your primary character, it's not Dante. Yeah, it looks like Dante. It's not Dante. It's actually a character, Nero, and he pretty much has the same combo move, but there is one special thing. Let's see if we can show it. Yeah, that's his arm. It's kind of a possessed arm, and it can grab onto objects and slam them into the ground. Trust me, it's satisfying. Another thing you can notice with the game is that the graphics are definitely of the PS3 standard and not what we were used to on the PS2. It's looking really good. You'll see a lot, hopefully very soon here, in the creature design, which is definitely more nightmarish than anything I've seen in the previous game. Well, that was Devil May Cry 4. A small taste, but a rather satisfying one. Once again, Capcom, get this one out. This will definitely make buying the PS3 this year a little easier. All right, this is the big launch title for the PS3, Resistance Fall of Man. And it's got one big thing going good for it. It's made by Insomniac Games, and those are the guys who also made Ratchet and Clank. And you'll see a lot of the qualities of that series in this one, even though it looks completely different. So it's an alternate reality from World War... Well, there was no World War II, but what there was is a strange alien invasion that looked like it came out of what was then the Soviet Union. There's something I want you to see. The game pauses when you switch weapons, just like in Ratchet and Clank. What that means is that they expect you to be using a lot of the different types of weapons very rapidly throughout the many battles that are in this game. Another thing to notice with Resistance is that it looks much better than it did back when we saw it at E3 and people were wondering what the big deal was. So, at the end, this still will probably be the biggest game that's going to come out at the launch of the PS3. And now that it seems to have decidedly improved, there's a much better reason why it's going to have that status. Oh. All right, this is Lair. This is from the Factor 5 guys that did the Rogue Squadron series. Well, I got only one thing to say about this game. Dragons. Lots of dragons flying in the air, hurting other dragons. That's awesome. It also takes advantage of the motion sensitivity, and this controller may be the one to do the most with it that I've seen so far. Let's definitely take a look. So I'm going to mount my dragon. All right, I just had to say that. That was an obvious one. So, okay, let's find something to hurt. Now I'm locked onto him, and now I'm going to start to use the controller to attack him, like that, which is awesome. All right, now we're tangling with him, and now we're fighting in the air between two dragons. The design of that dragon is exceptional. That was really, damn. One thing about the motion sensitivity is you actually try to use it in a very dramatic fashion. If I want to turn, I'm going like that. You really are using the buttons both to fire and to whip your dragon, more or less as you would a horse, and get some momentum going. Now, one thing I've been noticing here on the graphics, it does have a lot of the bloom effect. It's not my most favorite thing, but other than that, the detail in the game is quite impressive, especially the water, though. Nowadays, when have you not seen good water in a game? We're not going to learn much more for a little bit, because we're not going to see this one until sometime in 2007. So this game is dragonly awesome. Glory be! Morgan appears to recover from her PS3 anticipation-related stroke.
I heal quickly.
And just in time for video viewer mail.
Oh, man. Today's video viewer mail comes from Matt.
Hey, Adam and Morgan. I was just wondering, what do you guys think the worst game of all time is?
You know, we talk about this a lot. We have a couple worst games of all time.
Yes, I don't know. Dragon 99 Dragons, even though we usually say Aquaman, I hate that game even more. I don't know why, but I hate that game more.
I reviewed a game a long time ago called Crimson Tears, and God, I thought about clawing my eyes out. I think I did lose a little bit of hair.
Well, you cried blood, which is appropriate for the title, because you
Yes.
Crimson Tears. Oh, I'm clever!
Mega Man X7, that game holds a special place in my heart. It's this dinging sound that it makes every time you lock onto a target that's identical to the UPS dinging sound.
Yeah, so there's a lot of crappy games out there.
You know, by the way, we actually knew his name was Matt because it's in his email address, but in the future, you could actually say your name in your video viewer mail.
So come on over to g4tv.com/xplay and keep the video viewer mails coming.
The video game review magic does not stop because another episode of X-Play starts now.